Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for stopping by. We are in Sequoia National Park and we are at Round Meadow and the Big Trees Trail. It's a half mile trail. It's relatively flat and it is wheelchair accessible, and not a lot of people come out here to see this, so stick around and let's enjoy Round Meadow. All right, so we're at Round Meadow. It is a 0.6 mile trail. It is very well paved from what I can see so far, and it is 0.6 miles for the loop. So it's not a very large meadow, but there are some very beautiful trees here. It is handicap accessible and wheelchair accessible, so it's not traveled a lot, and it's one of those meadows that just doesn't get a lot of attention, which means it should be absolutely beautiful. So take a walk with me. As you can see, the trail is very well marked, and well, let's take a look at some of these big trees. Oh, on the Big Tree Trail. These are not young growth sequoia trees. Young growth is between, well, seedling to about 300 to 400 years. So these trees are probably close to, I'm going to say, between 700 and 1100 years old. Hold on. Oh, I missed him. There he is. You guys see him? Stop. Hey, buddy. That was cute. Not real sure if that was a squirrel or a chicory. Didn't make any noise. But you can see there's a restroom, water faucet, and again, I haven't been up in this part of the park. I don't believe, to be completely honest with you, I don't believe I've ever walked this trail. Now, this used to be the way to get to the Giant Forest Lodge, the cabins, and the showers. They're all gone. Everything's been removed. But again, this is absolutely beautiful. And the way the sun reflects that awesome red from these giant sequoias is just beautiful. And this is Round Meadow. It's not really round, but around dusk, sunset, because it's almost 80 degrees in the park. You will see bear that come down here because the day's getting cooler, and they're coming down to forage for you know, berries and flowers and greenery, because they are omnivores. Again, remember, a meadow is basically a body of water that has been filled in with sediment and encroached upon by the surrounding plants. So this is something I haven't seen. The tract of land on which this tablet has been erected, together with 4 other tracts of land, all within the heart of Giant Forest, was purchased from private owners with funds subscribed by the National Geographic Society. These areas were deeded to the United States on December 30th, 1916, for the benefit of and to serve the people of the nation. Pretty strong content. So, like I've said in all of my videos, you know, you have to be careful in these parks. You don't want to destroy trails and walk off of them. So let's see what this sign says. So even in good habitat, most sequoias die by falling, as the one in front of you did in 1992. Wow. Okay, so this happened this happened 4 years after I stopped coming to the park. I was 22. So, no, yeah, well, give or take.
24.
It's 24, thank you. Even the best sequoia, even in the best sequoia habitat, sorry, these giants are not immortal. Soft soil, heavy snows, or root damage may unbalance a tree and cause it to lean. If it leans too much, its shallow roots cannot hold its huge weight and the tree falls. In this tree's case, people may have hastened the process. A road cut near its base nearly in the early 20th century served some of its roots. It was tall enough that if it had fallen the other way, it would have hit the restaurant that once stood across the meadow. Okay, so that's what I was trying to get at. This used to be the trail to the lodge that used to be out here in the showers. And here's the tree. And it's kind of hard to see how far this thing goes. But this tree was probably 250 feet. So anyway, this is Round Meadow. And there's a lot of information on this meadow, and it's funny because Crescent Meadow, Log Meadow, and Huckleberry Meadow are very popular. But okay. Oh, here we go. From hurt to healing. This is going to be neat. This brings back memories because what I'm going to show you is where the lodge and the showers used to be. Across this meadow, a restaurant, campground, and dozens of cabins once crowded the sequoias. Behind you stood the early park headquarters. Cars once drove where you now stand. Round Meadow's sequoias have been threatened by development more than once, yet people ultimately chose preservation. So, there's a picture, and I'm going to just pan directly up. And right there, between those trees, used to be a restaurant and a lodge, because I've eaten there. And it's gone. They removed every single building, pipe, wire, duct, you name it, and the road, and left this trail to preserve these beautiful trees. And look at the crowns on these trees. They're absolutely perfect. So, stick around. I'll be right back. All right, so we're at another stop on the Round Meadow Trail, and I want you guys to check this out. It says frequent fire. Numerous fires created the large scar on the sequoia tree in front of you. Frequent fire is common in good sequoia habitat, and mature trees have ways to survive. Most large sequoias survive fire and live well despite large scars. Thick bark with many air pockets insulates the wood from heat. With little sap or pitch in it, the bark is not very flammable. High branches hold foliage well above most fires. With competing plants buried away, surviving trees get more water, nutrients, and sun. So, in other videos I've posted how important fires are, but this is a rather large fire scar. And it charred this tree all the way up. But it is a magnificent tree. So, and unfortunately, there are people, as you can see on the base, that will walk around these things. And again, it is imperative to stay on the trails. These root systems and these ecosystems are so delicate that simply walking around them and walking off a trail, you leave a footprint literally in the ground, or several depending on how far you go, that may take 2, 3, 5, 10 years to heal. And they, you know, It's devastating. So let's, well, just hang tight and we're gonna see some more of this meadow. Okay, so we're still on the Big Trees Trail, Round Meadow Trail. And here's another point of interest. Correct climate. Sequoias need a climate like the giant forest has now. Lots of precipitation, but not very cold temperatures. Yet this area was not always ideal sequoia habitat. This meadow reveals that. Until about 4,000 years ago, very few sequoias grew here. It was either too dry or too cold. This meadow records the history of the local climate. Over thousands of years, its soil formed in layers as plants decomposed. Scientists can identify these plants and know what type of climate they require. That tells us what the climate was like when they were growing here. So here's the layers of this meadow. Right now, ideal for sequoias today to 4,000 years ago. There's enough rain and snow to support the sequoias and their forest neighbors. 4,000 to 12,000 years ago, sagebrush and dry climate pines grew then. And before 12 or longer than 12,000 years ago, an ice age dominated the landscape. A glacier 500 feet thick filled the canyon at Lodgepole just north of here, which is the campgrounds. Cold tolerant plants that lived here then now grow 3,000 to 4,000 feet higher in elevation. Wow. So again, I thought I was pretty well versed on this park from what my dad taught me, and I just learned something. But again, like I was saying in earlier, these are young growth sequoias. And what I mean by young growth is, again, they're not more than about 1,000 years old. And these trees that I'm going to show you here are definitely not 1,000 years old. Check this out. Right on the edge of the meadow. Absolutely beautiful trees, you know. Sequoia National Park is, again, there's so much to see here and do here that you literally cannot do it in a day. I live about 250 miles from where I'm at right now. This is my 5th trip up here in a month to do this video series. And again, like I said, I have never been on this side of Round Meadow. So if you would, please stick around. I'm sure there's more to come. I'll be right back. Okay, so another stop on the Round Meadow. I can't believe, if I have been here, it was 44 years ago. What I want to show you right now is some what you would call new growth sequoias or giant sequoias. Take a look at this. These are just babies. And when I mean that, these are probably just 500 or 600 years old. You can see how thin they are. You can see how tall they are. These things haven't even begun to grow. I mean, based on the sign, this is kind of new to this area. All these trees, all this growth is new. Now, obviously, 48 years ago or 42 years ago, whatever it was, 44 years, none of this was here. But here's the trail. So it is definitely wheelchair accessible, and it is, I guess you could probably get a walk assister on here too. Another point of interest, surviving change. This spot is unusually wet for sequoias. It was probably drier here when the trees in front of you began growing. During prolonged droughts, wet meadows like this one often shrink. Sequoias can get started in the drier soils around the edge. However, if the climate turns wet again and the meadow expands, roots get flooded. These giant sequoias may not make it. Their roots may drown. The moist soil may be too soft to support large trees, causing them to lean and finally fall. Only time will tell. So these are a little older. So, a video where I'm actually learning something. This is pretty awesome. Be right back. Hey everybody, I just wanted you to see this. It almost looks like a prairie dog. Hold on. Check this out. I'm not really sure what that is. But he's right here on the trail. Okay, that's a first. Sequoia National Park. I'll tell you, you just don't know what you're going to see. So, I'm going to end it here. I know this video got a little longer than I expected it to be. But, again, we are on the Round Meadow Trail, or the Big Trees Trail in Sequoia National Park. And it's amazing. It was a very easy walk. It's very level, considering we're in the Sierra Nevada. It is wheelchair accessible. It is walker accessible. It is child friendly. It is absolutely beautiful. One last look. And just remember, sorry guys, forgot to zoom out. If you know what that animal was, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I don't know if that was a prairie dog or what, but anyway, with that being said, if you pack it in, pack it out. Always stay on the marked paths. Don't make your own path. Don't leave a footprint in the park. Let the parks leave a footprint in your heart, in the hearts of your family and future generations. Until next time, everybody, I wish you the best of health. Sequoia National Park, Round Meadow.